You could be losing a pound of fat every few days, but most people try so hard they actually slow themselves down. More cardio, less food, still stuck. The truth is that more effort does not equal more fat loss. I call it the overwork loop, where your body actually holds on to fat instead of letting go. I've lost almost 100 pounds and I help people lose weight faster, easier, by actually doing less. No starvation, no 2-hour workouts, just smarter structure and more freedom. If you're burning out and not seeing results, this video is the faster, easier weight loss strategy that I wish I knew years ago. So this first point is about flexible dieting, and I wanted to show you this. This is the calories on a large Papa John's pepperoni pizza. And the point of showing you that is that although yes, that's one slice of pizza and 2, 3, 4 slices of pizza really do start to add up. You know, it's gonna be over 1,000 calories if you eat 4 slices of pizza. The point is that it can fit into your diet, and being flexible with exactly what you choose to eat in your diet is something that's so important. I'm sure you've tried this before, kicking out all junk food or all sweets or whatever, just making a change that is nice and easy to understand. And I totally get that. Just saying I'm gonna cut out all carbs is a lot easier than trying to figure out exactly what to eat. But I think the power comes into it when you figure out exactly what to eat and you use recipes and you do some stuff that we're going to talk about in this video, where you're then able to eat pretty much whatever you want. So this used to be called If It Fits Your Macros, IIFYM, I think, If It Fits Your Macros, whatever that acronym is. And the point is that on If It Fits Your Macros, it's like you can literally eat whatever you want. Now, I don't think that's a very effective strategy, that if you eat, pizza and ice cream and donuts and cake, that as long as it adds up to your macros, you're good to go. But we can steal a little bit from that, in that you have room in your diet for a slice of pizza. The smaller you are and the less weight you have to lose, that's less true, but it still is always going to be true to some extent. You can take 200 calories a day and have them any way you want. If It Fits Your Macros, but with mostly whole foods, I think is the game-winning, the game-changing diet. My cookbook is very helpful here. I have delicious high-protein recipes that are actually going to keep you satisfied and help you stick to your diet because the food is actually good. It's totally free. Link in the comment in the description. You can just grab it now. But here's the thing. If all you do is flexible diet, you'll probably end up fatter. So next we're going to talk about tracking calories and actually tracking them accurately. Okay, so what I'm going to show you here is just an illustration of how we actually think about our food. So I can't tell you how many times a client has come to me saying, I only eat this, or usually it's less than this. They think they're eating like 1,200 calories, and it's much closer to this, 2,400 or 2,000 or even 3,000 calories. We can't trust ourselves when it comes down to knowing the amount of calories that we're eating without proper tracking. And this should be encouraging to you. I don't want you to feel like, oh man, like I'm wrong on the tracking, or to even worse, say, no, I'm not wrong on tracking. There's study after study that shows that what we think we're eating, we're actually usually eating much more. And people that are larger tend to, skew on the further end of that, where they're actually off on their calories by, 40%. Even dietitians are off on their calories and underreport their calories if all they had to do was guess by roughly 10%. Now, as you get closer to your goal, you don't have to track forever. You're going to be able to more intuitively eat and then just adjust as you see the scale changing or the mirror changing. But especially at first, it is so important to get an understanding, even if it's just like 2 months, to get an understanding of what calories are in the foods that you eat. But I mention this a lot in my videos. If you're serious about this and you actually want to make a change, commit to tracking during your journey, at least. I have done this for almost 10 years. I've gotten really good at it and really fast at it. It's not going to take you 10 years to get really good and really fast. I spend probably 5 to 7 minutes a day, and I can show you that on my screen time. On my, I'll pull it up right now. And I don't know. I haven't looked at it today, so I have no idea. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, so my screen time today, I've spent an hour and 1 minute watching YouTube. Yeah, 9 minutes on MyFitnessPal. Am I showing that? 9 minutes on MyFitnessPal. So I said 5 to 7. I was a little bit off. I'm done tracking for the day. I've already logged my my dinner and everything, and so sure, I'll go in and check what it is and just do it real quick. So it'll end up being like 11 minutes today, and you really can get that fast. Another thing that I want to encourage you in is that it's kind of like a budget. I use this this analogy sometimes. If you go into the mall and I'm like, hey, you have $400 to spend, go wild, do whatever you want. It's much more freeing to buy a $170 thing you want, knowing that you have $400 to spend. But if you don't really know what's left on the credit card, I'm not really sure, that $170 then becomes very, tense, where you're not exactly sure. And that knowledge of what you're eating frees you to eat what you want when you want. That goes back to the flexible dieting point, where if you keep track of your calories and you know at the end of the day you have 500 calories left and you want that slice of pizza, go for it. A lot of times at the end of the day, I'm needing more fat, so I'll have a peanut butter sandwich. Normally I tell my clients, hey, a lot of peanut butter, probably not going to be conducive to our goals because it's just so high in terms of the calories that you're getting for the volume. But at the end of the day, if I need a lot of calories all at once, peanut butter is a great option for that. And I can have that completely guilt-free. The next one is the downfall of almost every diet that I've ever coached a person through. And that is gonna be cravings. So this point is about defeating those cravings. Cravings are kind of like pop-up ads, on a website or whatever that you go to. And it's like not what you need at the time, and it's just annoying. You just wanna get to the real stuff. And that's kind of a craving, is I have my meals, I have my, my snacks laid out, and this craving just kind of pops up in front of me. I'm sure you can relate. If you're anything like me and you struggle with your weight, I'm sure you know how that feels. This is my craving survival map that I made for this exact purpose. It goes through emotions that you might feel. Instead of actual hunger, maybe it's something like being tired, running on autopilot, stressed, or bored. And it goes through a list of things you can do to overcome that craving. So it's super helpful, helps you stay on your diet. You can get that for free in the description or in the pinned comment. I don't know why I always struggle to think of the word description. So as I was saying with the craving survival map, a lot of times it's a different emotion. It's not actually hunger. And that should be very empowering. It should make you feel like, okay, yeah, maybe I can overcome this craving because it's not something that's just going to be there forever. Whenever you try to battle it and you find out and you overcome a craving multiple times because you find out the real root cause, the real emotion, it's very empowering. Another thing that I think is important, and I know, this has kind of been said many times, but still eat good food. That's pretty important. You have to leave room in your diet to have something that is maybe not considered healthy. We can't just quit all of those foods forever. And I want to encourage you that this gets so much easier. You get better at battling cravings, but they never go away. But I promise you get so much better at it, and they definitely lessen the amount of noise that's in your head due to it. I say this a lot, but it's because I've struggled with it myself that I know you probably understand what I'm saying, that food noise that's in your head when the craving just feels like it won't go away. So now that your diet's on point, what do you do when you get stuck? Because you're still gonna get stuck. Let's go back to the whiteboard. So this is gonna be quicksand, and this is gonna represent a plateau. If this is you and you are stuck in the quicksand, you are literally gonna be stuck in that plateau and there's nothing you can do about it. This is now going to be you. This is a horrible bridge with a little person walking across it. And having a plan, as cliche as that sounds, is the key to getting out of plateaus. Knowing what to do whenever you hit one. You're gonna hit one. That's a sign of success. You're moving in the right direction. So let's figure out what to do when you hit one. So one thing I wanna mention is that it's oftentimes not really a plateau. If you stuck with it, there's water weight fluctuations, there's all kinds of things that are going on that usually just result in water weight of some sort, stress, sleep, all kinds of things like that. And so if you stuck with it, you might see this big dip. Probably will see a big, if you're doing all the right things, then you're gonna see this big dip where all of a sudden you're going down in weight. And I try to tell my clients whenever I'm like talking to them about those big weight loss moments, I don't think usually that it's that they were doing anything better. It's that the real weight loss was expressing itself because something wasn't in the way. Whether they went through a week, 2 weeks of bad sleep or being sick or whatever it is. And now the real weight loss that was always happening is just expressing itself because their water weight is returning to normal. Focus on the inputs. Don't focus on the outcomes. Focus on what you're doing day to day. If you're hitting your workouts and you're doing your steps and you're doing a lot of stuff that I say in this video, then you are going to get the results. And if you truly believe that, then there's no reason not to do the thing and to actually accomplish your goals. It's whenever you think that that's not really gonna happen, am I actually doing the right things? And I promise, if you follow my channel, you have the plan. You can do it. You just gotta stick with it. One thing that I like to really stress is getting stronger in the gym. Or if you use Olympic rings, like I do sometimes in the background there, you can barely see them, doing more push-ups or whatever it is. Getting better in the gym and getting stronger is something that happens a lot quicker than, especially if you're new, it's gonna happen really, really rapidly. It happens quicker than seeing a difference in the mirror, seeing a difference on the scale sometimes. If every time you go in the gym, you beat yourself by 1 rep on every lift or something like that, then you know you are getting stronger and you're getting better at this whole thing. More muscle that you have means more fat loss. And so getting stronger in the gym, even if that's not your main goal, does directly relate to hitting your main goal of losing the fat. And another thing that kind of relates very much to that is getting more fit at your cardio, increasing the amount of watts that you can put out or increasing the incline on the treadmill and still being able to keep up with it. If you can hold a conversation on the phone, maybe they can tell that you're working out, but you can still, hold that conversation. That's roughly zone 2. It's just a really rough ballpark of zone 2 cardio. Let's say that 3% incline is your zone 2. But now in that same 30-minute time slot, or fill in the time slot, doesn't matter, you can walk at 5% and then 6% and then 7% and then 10%. You are burning way more calories in that same amount of time. And that's a pretty good feeling, but it's not just about the calorie burn. You're also much healthier, more likely to live a lot longer. And what's the point of losing all this fat if we just end up, dying early? And if you lose all the fat, then you won't, statistically die earlier than if you had the fat. But still, you get what I'm saying. It's kind of cool knowing that you're going to live a little bit longer and you're going to be healthier and you're going to have a higher quality of life as well. If, on the other hand, you don't spare your muscle during this process and you lose a lot of muscle as well, you're going to end up gaining it all back. I'm sure you've heard a story of someone who lost a bunch of weight and gained it all back. It probably was because their metabolism kind of messed up because they lost fat and muscle throughout their journey. So let's fix that. So this point is actually all about protein, and I'm going to show you on FitBuddy on my computer. It's a free AI fat loss coach that I made. So again, link in the comments and in the description. But I'm going to show you what I mean about this point. How many extra calories will a 200-pound man burn if he gained 10 pounds of muscle? Muscle burns around 5 to 7 calories per pound per day at rest. 10 pounds of muscle equals 50 to 70 extra calories per day just from resting metabolic rate. That's not the whole story. 50 to 70 calories per day might sound small. Muscle also contributes to higher calorie burn during workouts. I'm glad it said this. I was going to actually talk about this separately. Better insulin sensitivity, which regulates blood sugar and fat storage. It's awesome. And then greater NEAT. So as you're just walking around, as you're fidgeting, you're also going to burn more calories there. Even if you only lost an extra 5 to 7 calories per day. Let's just say that's 6 calories per day, and let's do the math on that. Now in school, I always learned the estimate was 8 calories per pound of muscle, but whatever, let's just go with 6. So that is 62% of a pound of fat. Now, I know you're probably like in the comments like, dude, that is not even a pound of fat. But remember, that's just existing, just sitting there, 10 extra pounds of muscle. Plus, you will look a lot better. You're going to fill your clothes out a little bit more, and you're going to look more muscular. That's great. Now, if you're like, dude, I don't want to fill my clothes out more. I mean, your shoulders are going to look better, and your arms are going to look better, and all that stuff. But if you add on to that the fact that as you're burning calories during cardio, you are now burning more calories. And as you're fidgeting and all that stuff, you're burning more calories. I would say an extra 10 pounds of muscle, I would guess would lead to a free, meaning like you would have done the actions anyway and you would have lost, 6 pounds or whatever throughout the year, that now you're going to lose something more like 12 pounds. So it's going to be double. That's what I would guess. That's not the coolest part. And you might have guessed that considering it's not that much body fat, but remember, that's just doing nothing. But still, the coolest part is that it keeps you full and doesn't allow you to overconsume on calories nearly as easily. It's much more satiating, and what that means is it makes you feel full, it makes you feel satisfied. And so by you naturally eating, let's say you ate 300 less calories a day because you increased your protein, plus you got the extra fat burn throughout the year due to the extra muscle on your body. And as you're doing cardio, you're now burning more. All this stuff adds up. And as you gain more and more muscle, this effect just keeps getting better and better and better. And by the end of the year, you can see how because of this tweak on protein, because of this focus on protein, maybe you lost an additional 26 pounds. That is huge. That's an additional 26 pounds outside of your current calorie deficit, okay? So a person, a lot of times, by focusing on this, especially whenever they're new, because they can gain that amount of muscle in a year, if they're new to this, then you'll have reached your goal within a year. And what is a year? If you've lived at this for 30, 40, 50 years, and you have 30, 40, 50 years ahead of you, what is 1 year in your life to accomplish all this? And that's all because you focused on protein. I also have written in my notes, and I'm glad I wrote it in my notes because I would have forgotten this. This might be helpful for you. You don't even have to download FitBuddy for this because I'm just going to show you right here. Please list out the most, I can't spell convenient. Oh, I knew it. Sources of protein. Give me the top 10. So Greek yogurt, I agree. Protein shakes, of course. And this is very bioavailable, meaning your body absorbs a lot of it. So that is a very high quality level of protein. Cottage cheese, one of my favorites. Deli meat, sure. I don't like the processing of the meat, but we talked about this earlier. Like a little bit is totally fine. I eat like half a pound a week. Canned tuna or salmon, great source there. Rotisserie chicken, I would just put chicken here. Pre-cooked chicken or turkey sausages, very good. Edamame, nice. 17 grams per cup. You know what? That wouldn't have been on my list. That's awesome to know. Protein bars, of course. boiled eggs or peeled. I would put egg whites here. That would be a lot better source of protein. And then I don't think here they have it. And right here, I guess I would also add shrimp. Shrimp is almost pure protein. Okay, so got your diet in check, got your training. And one thing I want to talk about is commitment. You've been told that you have to be committed. I'm sure you've heard that before, but it doesn't mean you have to suffer. All right, so I'm going to draw two graphs here. These are weight loss graphs. One that you might have experienced yourself before looks like that. Another one, although it is not nearly as fast, looks like this. Which one do you think shows commitment? Obviously, it's that one. This person was committed to the point that they stuck with it. Commitment is shown through what we were talking about a little bit earlier by focusing on inputs. So that is commitment to food logging. Like I said earlier, if you're really committed to this, I think you should be food logging to show yourself that you're really serious about achieving this goal. Another way that you can commit and really prove this to yourself is hitting most workouts. That does not mean to be perfect. It just means that if you're not feeling quite up to it, sometimes that's just a feeling. Other times you're going to be sick or extra sore, especially at the beginning, and that's different. I'm talking about if you're just like not up to it, at least going through the motions and doing half of the sets that you normally would do or half of the cardio time you normally would do is showing commitment to yourself. Another way is whenever you go out to eat, pre-planning your meals. Give extra effort towards that and look into the menu before you actually go to the restaurant. If you're going to a restaurant that's more of like a mom and pop place, something that might not be in MyFitnessPal or they don't have a menu online with nutrition facts, pick something that's the closest possible thing. So around here, I don't know if it's a countrywide thing or whatever, I'm not sure. But around here, El Maguey is the big like Mexican restaurant. So if you're going to some mom and pop Mexican restaurant that you can't find their nutrition stuff online, I bet they all have chicken quesadillas. I bet they all have the same enchiladas, roughly. And so just look up El Maguey enchilada. And again, I know it might sound silly, but this is the level of commitment that's needed. And some of these you can see like, that doesn't feel like much commitment. That's pretty easy. That's what I'm talking about. This doesn't have to be difficult. You don't have to suffer to be committed. The real lesson here is that you shouldn't do this through white knuckling, meaning like holding on for dear life. If you're just trying to get through this, that is not going to last. I'm sure you've experienced that. And so we have to do something a little bit different that's going the extra mile and showing commitment to yourself. This next one I think is very encouraging. If you don't give up, I can guarantee you're going to succeed. When you feel stalled, I promise that's part of the process. I want you to look forward to that because that means that you're on the right path. Everyone who has lost a significant amount of weight has hit a stall, has went backwards a little bit. Congratulations, you're now one step closer to your goal. You have to hit those. You may as well get them out of the way. Now you might have more than the average person. I don't know how many is going to be, there for you. But if I could look in the future and tell you, you're going to go backwards by 2 steps 100 times. It's pretty, I think it's pretty comforting to realize, okay, let me hit those 100 and then I'm going to succeed. You have to become a lean person. You have to become the person that you need to be today in order to get what that person is going to get in the future. And what I mean by that is start acting lean now. Start doing the things that it takes now. You might not be good at it yet. You might not be perfect at it yet, and you're never really going to be perfect at it. But start doing that stuff now, and it's going to help you tremendously. I would even maybe argue, maybe you should write down a list of what do lean people do. You can just watch a few of my videos. You're going to figure it out pretty quick. Or you can just come up with some ideas, ask ChatGPT. Doesn't matter to me. What do lean people do? And start doing as many of those things as possible to the best of your ability. You're going to keep getting better at them. This is your testing ground. This is your battleground. Go into it knowing that it's not going to be easy. Alex Hormozi just said this. This just came to me. It is the expectation that it's going to be easy that makes it harder than it ever needed to be. And I really, really like that because if you go into this knowing this is going to be difficult, I'm going to fail, but that's okay. Aaron said that I might experience 100 failures before I finally succeed. That doesn't mean you were just stalled at step 1. It means the entire time you took 10 steps forward, you might take 2 steps back. That's okay. Take another 10 forward. This next one is going to be about diets. This is how to for sure fail, even if you do everything I just said. And it's that diets in general don't work. If you found a diet that works for you and you love keto or you love intermittent fasting, I love intermittent fasting. If you call that a diet, then I'm going against my own point here that diets in general don't work. I love the feeling of being hungry. I don't know what it is, not all the time, but in the morning, every single morning, I have to remind myself to eat because I don't technically intermittent fast. I just have an almost pure protein source in the morning so that I can feel that hunger all the way up until 12, 1, or even 2 p.m. sometimes. I know I'm probably costing myself a bit of muscle with that because I'm not hitting that muscle protein synthesis, but I just love that feeling. So if you find something that works for you, I'm in your boat. I agree with you. That is the diet for you. But for most people, you need to stop looking at what other people have done and try to apply it to you. You need to figure out what works for you. And for most people, that is just general caloric restriction by eating the foods they love, making them a little bit healthier using things like my cookbook, and sticking with that calorie deficit long enough that they see significant results. Talked a lot about diet and muscle building for fat loss, but what about cardio? What cardio should you be doing? I talk about a major mistake people make here with cardio that actually stops their fat loss, so you can watch that one next.